Congresswoman Madeleine Dean, a Democrat, serves on the Judiciary Committee. Congresswoman, thanks so much for joining us. So what stands out to you from these first transcripts that we're seeing from these closed-door depositions?
Well, you know, I've just begun to read some of the transcripts of the Ukraine ambassador, and they're chilling, actually. What we know is that Ukraine is our ally. What we know is Ukraine is a democracy that has been under attack since 2014, violent attack by Russia. And we, the Congress, appropriate money to support our friends and our allies who are subject to attack. But the president and his shadow foreign policy, apparently led by Mr. Giuliani and some others, undermined our foreign policy, undermined our support for Ukraine, and actually threatened our ambassador there. It's actually chilling to think that she got calls saying she needed to take the next plane home. People were worried for her security. And the transcript of the call with the president to the other foreign leader saying she's going to go through some rough times, some tough times. It is, as some of our chairmen have said, a contamination of foreign policy. And it's very upsetting for our own national security as well as the security of Europe and Ukraine.
In these hundreds of pages of transcripts released today, and more will be released tomorrow, Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch, a career Foreign Service officer, a diplomat, 30-plus years in the State Department, she describes in great detail how she believes she was targeted by Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal lawyer, and his allies. How concerned are you by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's role in overseeing this?
Well, if you read more into, I guess it's Ambassador McKinley's testimony, he was very concerned about that and asked the Secretary Pompeo to make sure that he did straighten the record, correct the record for this career courageous diplomat who took on very difficult assignments, only to have her name smeared in an absolutely absurd way by Giuliani and others. No one believed the smear, by the way. Her reputation is intact, but it's troubling the Pompeo silence. That's what seems troubling from what I read through these transcripts that were released today. And notice how this dovetails, sadly, with what we read from Bill Taylor's testimony, the 15-page opening statement that he made just a short while ago.
He's the top diplomat in Ukraine.
That's right, and he was the charge d'affaires, and he was the one who said that he grew increasingly concerned over the shadow foreign policy that was being constructed by Rudy Giuliani and others, right alongside our own foreign policy, and to the undermining of Ukraine and to the undermining of global security. Remember also what's going on here. The president very directly withheld aid to Ukraine, $391 million worth of aid, because he said, you'll have to do us a favor, though. You'll have to do me a favor, though. He wanted the president of Ukraine to publicly come out and say that he was going to investigate what looked like some wrongdoing by the Bidens. It was an attempt to shake down this foreign leader in his first days in office, an attempt to use the president's office, our president's office, for his own political gain instead of for diplomacy and peace around the world.
Rudy Giuliani told our Dana Bash he does not have security clearances, yet he was in charge of what's being described as this shadow policy. What does that say to you?
Well, I cannot understand the putting him in charge of that in any way. He is a personal attorney to the president. He has other clients and other business interests that could be in serious conflict, certainly would be in serious conflict with any kind of State Department work. It shows an irresponsible president, a president who doesn't have a grasp of diplomacy, who doesn't respect diplomacy. These career diplomats who have worked for presidents of both administrations over the course of 30 and 40 years are gravely concerned about the wrongdoing of this administration by way of its State Department and a shadow foreign policy.
There's a long list of witnesses who will not appear before the inquiry this week, including lawyers from the National Security Council, officials from the Office of Management and Budget. Can the inquiry proceed, and can you draft articles of impeachment without that kind of testimony?
Well, you see, the inquiry is proceeding and very effectively, sadly. And we do know that most of these people who are talking to the Intelligence Committee behind closed doors are also willing to come in public. Last week, we passed a resolution setting out the procedure as we move forward into this next phase on a journey that I really want to emphasize to my constituents and to other Americans. Nobody came to Congress, nobody came to this 116th Congress hoping to impeach a president or having to consider articles of impeachment. But I will tell you, I'm a member of the Judiciary Committee and the Financial Services Committee and a member of this caucus, and no one is above the law. As I come home to my constituents, they tell me how troubled they are by the corruption and the wrongdoing of an administration that is out of control, that is seeking personal political advantage, is seeking the help of a foreign country to interfere with our elections when we know that our past elections have been interfered with by Russia, China, and that we are under attack at all times. Imagine that our very own president is seeking a foreign interference with the upcoming elections for his own gain. My constituents are very upset about this. They want us to be doing the work of Congress. They want the Senate to pick up some of the 300 bills that our House has passed that would help protect them, would help protect our planet. You saw just today what the president has decided to do, begun the unraveling of our part in the Paris Climate Accord. This is an administration that is recklessly irresponsible, whether it's about our planet or global security or the health care of its citizens.
All right. Congresswoman Madeleine Deed, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.